when you're first getting started is you have to want to learn, you have to care. It's not just, are you picking stuff up? Are you available? Are you talented? It's like, well, do you want it? It's because there's so many people that want to be composers or be in this industry. And you have to, make people remember you. Hi, my name is Tori Letzler, aka Tiny Cat. I'm a vocalist, composer, electronic producer, all things music, media. And that's just the long and short of me. My quote-unquote big break, I don't know if I'd really refer to it as that, but I scored a series for Netflix called In From the Cold. Scoring my own Netflix show was just, I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I got so lucky because the team on In From the Cold and everybody at Netflix kind of just let me do what I wanted to do. But to be given your own show at the age of, 30, and be told just go be creative and do what you want to do based on, the conversations we've had was it's like a dream. I don't know, it had a huge impact on me, and it really felt like a massive period of growth. And then my earliest memory with film music was my mom took me to see John Williams at Tanglewood, which was a venue on the East Coast. I was 10, and I was a diehard Harry Potter fan. I would play that soundtrack, endlessly in the house. And so when I went to see that concert and saw all of the wonderful things that he did, I was like, what is this? And just became obsessed with film music immediately. I was on track to be a performer, a vocalist. I was originally going to go to college for that. I'd gotten into a bunch of conservatories for opera. And then one summer, I took a songwriting program at Berklee College of Music, and I fell in love with it. And it was the only school that I got into that was not for opera. And I was like, well, I'm gonna go do this. And then I didn't know to what extent. I thought maybe songwriting. I knew I wanted to write music a little bit, but I didn't fully grasp what that was. And then I took an intro to film scoring class in my first semester, and everything just kind of clicked. It just made sense. I'd been a diehard fan of Danny Elfman and John Williams for years and years and years, obsessed with film score, but I didn't have the training in my head to think that I could do something. I went and interned in LA after my second year at Berklee. It was for marketing and promos, so trailers, commercials, all stuff that isn't for the main film, but is crucially important for marketing. When I was interning out in LA the year before, I had done a tour of Remote Control Studios, which is Hans Zimmer's studio in Santa Monica. Luckily enough, while I was there, after everybody left, I stayed behind and ended up hanging out with a composer named Jeff Zanelli. He was working on a Pirates of the Caribbean film at the time. I watched him work, just hung out with him for a while, stayed in touch. I reached out to him and I said, hey, I don't know if this is a long shot, but do you know anyone that could be hiring at Hans' studio, or are you hiring? And he said, well, I don't need an assistant, but let me get you in touch with the person who hires those people and hires the interns. So I got an internship, and I would work at Remote from 8 in the morning till noon. And then I have to drive an hour to Burbank and then work from 1 to 10 p.m., whatever the night shift was. And I would switch. So depending, I'd do night shift at one, day shift at the other. And I just worked my butt off to get hired eventually as an assistant there for the overall studio. And obviously getting to work around, it's not just Hans in that studio, there's dozens of incredibly talented people scoring. I mean, Ramin Djawadi was there at the time. He had just started doing Game of Thrones. It's the Mecca. So I wanted to be there and I wanted to learn, and I think that's so important. I would be there till all hours of the night. I even moved my apartment. I moved from Burbank to Santa Monica to be walking distance from the studio, so that I would just go around to people's studios and offer to wrap cables, do anything, just so people would remember my name. My first major blockbuster film was I sang on Thor: The Dark World, which was the second Thor movie. And that was my first time singing on a superhero film. And after that, I went on to sing on a plethora of superhero projects, which I'm very grateful for. And then I got to sing on Hans' score for Batman v Superman. The main title of the opening is all me. And that was a very, very cool moment. I'm a huge gamer. In fact, I worked on some DLC stuff for Fortnite like last year for their season Mega City. Gaming and gaming communities and how music works in games, and now being able to be involved in that side, it's so interesting to me. And if you look at how gamers consume music versus film fans in streaming numbers like data, gaming fans are like ravaged for like game music. They want to listen to it all the time. And I have such a respect for that like fandom. The tools needed to get started as a composer can often be very lofty and expensive, and that stuff adds up. You need keyboards, you need a laptop, you need external hard drives. Samples are super expensive. So like, whereas a lot of producers are using, presets in Serum and audio, composers, it's these massive contact libraries. Now we have social media, which has completely changed the landscape of everything. You can teach yourself how to use a DAW in 24 hours. Everything's gone down in price. You have things like Splice, where it's just accessible to everyone at any level. And for that reason, I think the barrier of entry is going down and down and down and down. As a composer, time is money. We have very, very tight deadlines, especially on television. And sometimes it doesn't allow for me to hire 10 percussionists. Also, the budget could be this big and I don't have the money for 10 percussionists. Splice has, 700, exaggeration, Middle Eastern percussion packs that I can pull from. And that's organic audio that I wouldn't be able to get necessarily from a sample like a contact library. It's something that it just sounds live and real, and you can hear the breaths of the players and the hits of the sticks. It's pretty insanely helpful. So this pack, I took like what people loved from the first one. There is more of that. Like, I didn't want to get rid of it. There's stuff that people really loved. I mean, there was like a couple samples that got downloaded like thousands more times than others. And I was like, all right, clearly people love using this. We're going to do the better version of these. People love that pack and I love it too. But I'm like, man, you guys can't wait to hear this pack because it's like the bigger, badder, like older sibling of that one. The name of the pack is very straightforward. It's Tori Letzler Cinematic Vocals 2. The first one was Cinematic Vocals 1. I just thought we should, keep it the same. It's very straightforward, and yeah, it's cinematic vocals, but again, it's meant to just cross into all genres and whatever people want to kind of do with it. I think the pack works for all levels of people who want to get creative in music. Whether you are somebody that has just opened a DAW for the first time and is wanting to play around with audio and just teach yourself the basics, it's great for that. There's stuff for everyone in there. Or if you are, an Oscar-winning composer and you just want to grab something quick and make something from it, there's stuff for you in there too. At the end of the day, when I make something, whether it be on some massive film or just a stupid video I put online, and somebody goes, hey, I watched that thing and it made me feel XYZ, like, that's it. Because I was that kid watching John Williams feeling that. And so it had that impact on me, and that's what matters at the end of the day. I can't live without that. My name's Tori Letzler, and you can get my new Splice pack, Tori Letzler Cinematic Vocals 2, on Splice now.